Welcome to the Saving Lives with Forks and Knives Way of Life webinar. In this short webinar, we're going to talk about what Saving Lives with Forks and Knives is and why so many people are doing it. To begin though, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being here, for showing up, for opening yourself up to opportunities to improve your life, to improve the world, and make a real difference. You could be anywhere right now, and it really means a lot to me that you've chosen to spend some time to see how you can improve your health, the health of the planet, and those that we share it with. So thank you also for caring. And as always, thank you for sharing, because Saving Lives with Forks and Knives would not be what it is today without your feedback, without your comments, your questions, your success stories, suggestions. It's been incredible to have this journey with so many of you so far, and I appreciate that. So please continue to share your experiences as we go on this journey together. Today we're going to talk about what Saving Lives with Forks and Knives is, the what and the why. But before we begin, in case we've never met before, my name is Jenna Goodhand, and I've been practicing this way of life for about 15 years now. And I am more passionate about it today than I ever have been. As more research is coming out, as more people are adopting this way of life, it's so inspiring and so motivating to see the changes that are taking place in the world of food and the way in which we live our lives in relationship to it. I am an entrepreneur. I run a number of businesses in the area of health, wealth, wellness, self-improvement, and I'm also mother to that cute little guy on the right-hand side there. That's us at the Farm Sanctuary in New York with one of the rescued pigs. So I love food. I also love connecting with those who've had their lives rescued as a result, and also spending time with those who unfortunately are about to lose their lives. But we'll talk about that a little later. Today we're just focusing on what exactly the Saving Lives with Forks and Knives way of life is. So as we go, I want to know about you as well, learn from you. Originally, this was a live webinar, but I decided to record it because so many people ask these questions from time to time as we go along. But please do follow up with me after you've watched this. I'd love to learn more about you. So what is our mission? The Saving Lives with Forks and Knives mission is to educate and inspire people. We want people to make food choices that promote saving lives through better health, sustainability, and compassion. And our vision is to be that leader, the leader in education that supports and offers resources to help people make food choices that promote health, sustainability, and well-being. Is it a diet? Well, it does focus on nutrition and wellness, but we also focus on abundance and simplicity. People often ask, is it a whole food plant diet or is it a vegan diet? And you know what? It's a little bit of both. So let's take a look at what those ways of eating are. So a whole food diet is focusing on unprocessed and unrefined foods. It's foods that are free from additives or artificial substances. You want your food as close to where it started as possible so that you know that it hasn't had any tampering with, it hasn't had any added anything that you don't need for your body, for your health. And in the Saving Lives with Forks and Knives community, we show you all the ways in which you can do that and feel fulfilled. Okay. A vegan diet is a diet that focuses on grains, beans, nuts, and legumes, fruits and vegetables, and removes animal products. And there's a little bit more than just the food. It's the idea that animals and other creatures and beings are not here for us to exploit, to take advantage of, or to consume, or for entertainment or anything like that. So being vegan is beyond just food. It's about love, compassion, and a respect for all. And the difference with the Saving Lives with Forks and Knives way of life is that we focus on optimal human health and an increase in our capacity for compassion, sustainability, and synchronicity with other humans, creatures, and our planet. So like the whole food plant-based diet, which focuses a lot on nutrition and health, we are right behind that and promote that. But we also, with the vegan way of looking at things, we want to live in a way that supports harmony throughout all of the ways in which we live our life. So what we did when we started to put together our different programs and packages is we looked at the most common things that people ask about when it comes to foods that they can make a difference in choosing or not choosing. And so what we came up with was these categories. So most often people ask about foods that heal, foods that prevent disease. People wanted to know about foods for mental health and clarity, foods for vitality, longevity, and strength, Foods that support the planet, okay? Foods for sustainability, foods for compassion, and foods for humanity. And why is all of this important? Why were these the topics that come up? Because in the last, it's not even the last few decades, it's been a long time coming that people have recognized the importance of focusing on our decline in health, the decline in the state of our planet, and the state in which others are living, both human and non-humans around the world, and the importance of us to finally focus on that. So the SAD diet, what is the SAD diet? Well, SAD stands for Standard American Diet. And it is sad because the diet in which we are most often consuming in North America has contributed to the top diseases that we're also experiencing. So heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, diabetes, obesity. In a time where we have so much education on the importance of food and health, we are suffering immensely. And all of these diseases are directly related to the food that we're consuming. Also, the diet that we're consuming is responsible for a lot of inflammatory diseases, depression, anxiety, so going back to that mental health piece, low energy, trouble sleeping. And we kind of come from this place of, and I love the quote about, let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food, because we, of course, modern medicine, Western medicine has come a long way in what we understand about how to heal the body and take care of the body. But food in its whole sense, it works well with our body. That's it. Depending on what you believe and what you think, you can look at food and recognize that it was designed to nurture us and to give us the nutrition that we need to be healthy and live a long life. And we've recognized the foods that do provide us with more energy and help us have a healthy weight, reduce inflammation, and reduce risk of disease. And that's what Saving Lives is all about. It's about making choices every day that support the things that you want in your life. And just look around you in your office or at your home, or, just sit on a park bench and watch the people around you. We don't live in a very healthy society. A lot of people feel very weighed down and heavy and stressed out and just generally, not good about their physical well-being and their mental well-being and their role in what they're contributing to the world. And it all comes back down to food. And one of the wonderful things is it's the easiest thing that you can change. People have all sorts of solutions to improve their health, but honestly, it just comes back to basic food and eating the foods that are right for you. So that's what we're all about. Other benefits of practicing the Saving Lives way of life: clearer skin, better mental focus, improved moods, a stronger immune system. These are all things that we all want. No one would argue with having a better mental focus or improved moods or a stronger immune system. Yet we eat things every day that counter the way that I was going to say progress, but really the way that we should just generally be experiencing our life. And going beyond just our own, vehicle, our own physical well-being, but the world around us. Our planet is suffering, and depending how you look at things, some people think there's no hope in hell we're gonna turn this boat around, and others are doing the best that they can to make a difference. And where I come from in my beliefs is, I think we have a lot of challenges ahead, and I've been inspired to see that people are taking initiatives and steps to really make a difference, to reduce the harm, because we may not be able to turn this boat around completely, but on the way forward, a world of people who are more compassionate and more connected to the planet that sustains them is going to be a better experience for all of us. And I think we should do what we can with the time that we have left. So soil and land loss, directly related to food, the amount of land that we use to produce food that is then given to animals that we slaughter is just inefficient. We're depleting our land for crops that feed animals when that food could be feeding people. And we'll talk about that in a second too. But there's vast areas of our planet where you just can't grow things anymore because we've we've taken so much from the soil, and we've lost that land, and it's inhabitable to growing anything. Why we don't consume animals is because when you look at the emissions, at the carbon footprint, at the impact that producing animals for food or their byproducts, the impact that it has on the environment. I mean, the emissions are more than any other industry in the world. People think, oh, I'll just stop driving my car, I'll take the bus, or I'll get a more fuel efficient car. Really, if you want to reduce your emissions, if you really care about the planet and you want to reduce that, the easiest way is to stop consuming animal products. And that's one of the things that we focus a lot on in the program, is how do you eat for the planet to reduce your emissions. Looking at our water, we have so much water, but so much of it is being used in a way that is not sustainable, and we're polluting our water through, the waste that comes off of these animal feedlots. We are using it in terms of how much water it requires to grow just, 1 pound of beef versus, acres of other vegetables that could feed people in a nutritious way. I mean, it's not even just thinking about our resources in terms of how we divide them and how we separate them, but we're using our resources on something that's actually killing us. Going back a few slides ago and looking at those diseases, heart disease, osteoporosis, diabetes, cancer, these are all directly related to our high consumption of animal products. And not only are we killing ourselves, we're killing our planet in the process. And the more that you start to open your mind to this, and the more you stop trying to defend a way of life that we've been living for so long and start to question, maybe there is another way. Maybe we just haven't been awake to our impact on the world around us and our health. You start to realize the connection between everything. And at first it can be a little depressing. And I've watched many people go through that to realize, the connection of everything. But once you realize the power that you have to make a difference by choosing different foods, you feel so much more connected to your body, to the planet, and to those that we share it with. And that brings us to other humans. We have a growing population, as much as, some areas of the world are having less children. I mean, we already have so many that we're putting so much stress on the resources that we have. And if everyone were to eat a diet like we do in North America that's high in animal products, our planet cannot sustain it. Already we're losing land, we're losing water, and there's people starving. There's people in this world whose land is being used to feed animals that are then murdered, instead of land that could be used to grow food to feed them. And I know there's a lot of politics in the world of food. It's not as simple as just having the food, but actually having access to the food. But when we're using food and converting it in an efficient way for animals, it doesn't make sense. We've got brothers and sisters right now in this world who need food, who need nutrition, who need sustenance, and by diverting, the land to grow crops to feed animals, we're also taking from them. And it's a hard link for people to realize, but when you start to look at and you trace back where food comes from and where it goes and how the system works, choosing a saving lives way of life, choosing foods that are best for your body and for the planet, are also best for other humans that we share this world with. And then, the hardest part for a lot of people is recognizing what is actually happening with our food industry, and looking at how some foods, come from a very tragic truth. Looking at this concentrated feeding operation over here with these pigs. I mean, this is not an isolated event. This is the majority of meat in North America is produced in this way. Animals in crowded states, who live a life who live a life of torture just from birth. Their entire life is hell from the moment they wake up and they're separated from their mother, or they're crammed into small spaces, not able to actually be close to them, to living a life like this. And the only blessing is, for a lot of them, their life is short. But we all want to be free. We all want to live our life, and I've met pigs, I've met chickens, I've met cows who are, really not that far off from the dogs and cats that we love. And it's hard to look at it that way because no one wants to believe that they're hurting another creature. But the truth is when you buy animal products, you're contributing to a system that exploits and tortures and is a result of a mass murders of creatures every single day around the world. And so, you can choose a way of life where you don't have to contribute to that. You don't have to pay someone else to kill something for you or to take from something else from you. You can actually live in harmony with your own body, with the planet, with other species, and the lightness that comes with that when you know that you're choosing choices of compassion versus choices of cruelty. I mean, some people will hear this and they'll scoff at me and they'll say, well, we've always done this, we should always do this. But I know some of you are able to be open enough to ask yourself, just because we've always done something one way, does that mean we always should? So we've come up with a better way. We've come up with a better way for those who really value health, happiness, and harmony. And that's really what Saving Lives is all about. It's about living your life in a way where you're choosing the foods that are going to nurture, okay? In every area, you're going to feel healthier, you're going to feel happier, and you're going to be in harmony. And that sense of harmony is something that so many people are living without. And it seems like a challenge because of maybe, change is hard for people, but the gap between where you are today and living the Saving Lives way of life is so much smaller than you probably imagine. And that's why we're here, to help you realize the power that you have to do this and how easy it can be for you. So some places to begin. Begin at the beginning. How do you eat today? What do you already know? What are you aware of? I don't want anyone to feel bombarded with any of this. It should be a journey, an experience, something that you're enjoying and curious about and excited about. That's how you stick with something. That's how real change happens, when you're invested in the outcome that you want. So think about, where is it that I want to go? Where am I today? A year from now, 5 years from now, how would I like to live in a different way? What is the benefits that I want to get from this? So one of the things I do with our crew, our community, the clients I work with one-on-one, is get them to write a personal Saving Lives mission statement. What is their why? Okay, what is your why? Why would you change foods that you've always been eating to adopt other foods? Why would you give up certain foods? Why would you add more foods into your diet? Is it because you want mental clarity? Is it because you want more energy, or to just feel better about the connection you have with your food and the world? Really ask yourself, what is important to you? Not just, a really great place to start is just, what do you value about life? What's important to you? I mean, for me, one of the reasons I found myself in this way of life was because I value freedom. I want to be free to roam the world and not feel constrained or as though I'm being exploited or held back by anything. I fear being tortured, all sorts of things that we have as fears. These were the kinds of things that made me connect to animals. I saw animals in a way that I myself resonated with, and I couldn't imagine contributing to that pain for them. But as my life has gone on, now that I've had the benefits of eating in this way and experienced it from a health perspective, it's phenomenal to just have this energy to fall asleep nicely at night, to sleep through the night, to wake up in the morning and have energy. And I would never live another way because of how good it just feels to be really alive. So anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent, but my point is to start with your why. What's important to you, and how does food relate to that? If mental clarity is your start point, then start to include foods in the Saving Lives program that promote better mental clarity. Start where it's important to you. Some other places to start. Try one whole foods meal a day. Okay, so as little processed food as possible, no additives, just real food. Okay, as real as you can get. So where are you going to find that real food? Probably the perimeters of the grocery store. If you're going in the middle aisles, legumes, rice, grains, those sorts of things are going to help as well. Or try one plant-based meal a day, okay? So depending on where you're coming at from this, I mean, obviously we would love if all the foods you were eating were plant-based and whole foods, but start where you're at. This has been a journey. I've said, over a decade I've been doing this, and I'm still adjusting in certain ways. Now having a child and just the demands of work and being an adult, there's different time constraints and things. So, I mean, do your best, but try, to do one of these things to begin. You can try one new Saving Lives meal a week. So if you're part of the Saving Lives with Forks and Knives community, you'll have access to a whole list of recipes. I put out 4 new recipe videos every single month. There is something I'm going to be giving you away at the end of this webinar that will also have some recipes. So you could try those once a week. Begin to incorporate more whole foods into your meals. So maybe your whole meal isn't whole foods, but instead of having something that's processed, you decide to make it yourself. And buying with saving lives in mind. Okay, so when you're in the grocery store, look at the food you're buying and think about what is the external cost of this, or what are the benefits of consuming this, and really asking yourself when you're choosing foods, is this going to have more benefit or more harm? And ask yourself, how you feel about that and if it fits with you or not. Educate yourself. I mean, that's one of the most powerful tools that we have, is to educate ourselves on the things that we don't know and the things that we think we know. So when, if you're taking this journey of practicing a plant-based diet and people are asking you, where do you get your protein, find out, research yourself, find out where do people get their protein? What is protein? I mean, there's so many myths out there about food and requirements, and it's amazing when you just start to look. When you really just look into it, the answers are out there for you. We just often don't educate ourselves on things we already think we know until somebody asks us questions. I mean, I really truly mean this. If you have questions, reach out, ask me. I'd love to help you with that as well. Remove one item from your diet at a time by filling it with something else. So a lot of times people say things like, oh, I can't give up cheese, or I need to have milk on my cereal. There are a lot of alternatives out there, and some of them are wonderful. Some people have no problem transitioning to alternatives that are similar to what they had before. Some people don't like the idea of replacing something that isn't the thing that they used to know. So for example, having a healthy protein patty that looks like chicken, tastes like chicken, but isn't chicken. That for some people is uncomfortable. I myself, the only thing I really use is I love non-dairy milks. I love almond milk, cashew milk, any kind of milk like that. I still include a lot of that in my diet, and it's been very easy to transition to that. There's some fantastic plant-based cheeses out there now too. But taking something from your diet, one at a time, and replacing it with something that's a whole food, plant-based item. So if you want some more support beyond this webinar today, here's some ways that we can stay in touch. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all of those social media sites, we are we are working our best at adding more value there. There's a lot of behind the scenes things going on right now as we really revamp our entire program after a couple years of feedback. So we're doing a lot of stuff there, but you can follow us. You can ask us questions there as well. I'm going to give everyone who wants it the 30-day Saving Lives Challenge. So what is this? Well, every single day I'll be sending you an email for 30 days. It will have nutritional information. It will have a video with a recipe and tips and tricks on how to make this transition as fun and as exciting and as enjoyable as possible. And so if you are watching this on YouTube or on our website, you can just, send us your email address and we'll get you set up there. So before I end here, I just want to thank you again for being here. You could be anywhere, for being open to a way of life that, the majority of people have yet not adopted. But this is so, it's amazing. And in the last decade, years ago when I first kind of decided to eat this way, nobody knew about it. It was very strange to people. I had to explain myself a lot. And it's fantastic that today everybody knows at least one person who is leading by a Saving Lives way of life, and it's so inspiring. So I appreciate, even if you today are not at that part of your life where you're ready to make that change, I appreciate that you're just here and open to the idea of it. Maybe you're here because you wanted to learn for somebody else. Maybe you're here because I have no idea. I have no idea how you found yourself here today, but I want to thank you for that and for being open to this information. I hope you got some understanding or value out of it, or at least you have a better understanding of why people live this way of life and what it is that they're consuming and not consuming. And again, as always, thank you for sharing. I'd love your feedback on this. So everyone, have a wonderful day, and I hope we connect somewhere soon.